There's a big article in, I think it was the Sarasota magazine, about this crazy market. We want to touch on that in today's video because it's also end of
April.
Yeah, so it's that time again. End of April. Market stats coming to you from the CORCORAN Dwelling's downtown office.
The challenges of this market that not a lot of realtors are comfortable talking about. Maybe they are now, but things have slowed down, whether you want to admit it or not.
What challenges? I'm not seeing any challenges. It's always a challenge.
Yeah.
I feel like, do you get asked the question daily, like, what's the market like? And it's like, it's a narrative. Like, you almost have to like dictate this whole long narrative to explain what's going on. I mean, I almost call it bipolar a little bit.
I don't get it every day.
I get it more than you probably.
You do,
Yeah.
but it's, I don't know. It's definitely a topic that people are curious about for sure.
So I think it's more the frustration is because this is the second buyer's market I think I've been in that's a little more extreme. So back in the recession, it was a 56-month level of inventory, and I believe right now we're at like a 7-month level of inventory. But I feel like when we had the recession, we had more buyers. Do you feel like that, or is that just me?
When we had the crash, with the foreclosure crash, because they were giving money away and that people were handing their houses back to the bank. We had a period where there were no buyers because no one felt comfortable buying, because people get scared in the market like that and like this, and they don't want to jump in. But my experience, when I've been doing this a while, when I look at people that have made a lot of money in real estate, a lot of times they purchased when no one else wanted to buy.
Right.
And they sold when everyone else was buying. Like if you bought in like 09 when no one wanted to buy, or 08, and you sold 3 years ago when everyone was buying, you'd have done extremely well. Extremely well.
I love that saying by well, I just couldn't think of the name. Yeah. Warren Buffett. When others are fearful, be greedy, and when people are greedy, be fearful. I think that's a great sentiment to live by, and it's harder to do in practice, I think, than it's easier said than done, kind of. But I think he's so brilliant to that point. And it's like the stock market. Like, it's frustrating to see your stocks go down at record lows, like, and to sell out like when it's low. That's not what you're supposed to do, right. But it's emotional for some people. And
so let me ask you, do you think we sold fewer houses this year than last year?
Yes. Do you?
I have some stats.
Okay, tell me. Right. Go.
Last year, single family homes, Sarasota County.
Right.
January to April 21st.
Just tell me.
2,327. 2,327.
Okay.
This year, higher or lower?
Lower?
2,400.
Stop it. Stop it. Am I just the slow agent? No.
We just have more listings.
Okay, what about volume now? Is the volume the same? Like the sales volume?
Well, condos are down. And single family homes in Manatee County are down slightly.
Right.
Condos in Manatee County are down pretty good. The condos are skewing things.
But the condo market, there's way more condos in both Sarasota and Manatee listed than there are single family homes. Correct?
I don't know about that, but what I will say, as a percentage, the number of actually things sold, let's talk single family.
Okay.
Are actually up in Sarasota County. But as compared to the number of listings out there for sale, it's a smaller percentage.
That's probably what we're feeling.
But the number of units is actually up. Not much, like, I don't know, 73 units, 73 houses.
Right.
From January 1 to April 21st.
Well, let me ask you this. Yeah. As a company, CORCORAN, is our volume down compared to... Camila's the boss.
I think we're pretty steady. We're probably
even keel to about
in line with the market. I just, as a company and every company, there's tons of listings.
I think that's what we're feeling because we're carrying a lot more listings, and
exactly.
The ones that do sell, it's like, okay, it's a fraction of what we're carrying, and so maybe that's where we're feeling the pinch.
It's like you got like 10 listings, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of listings. Okay. Now, as a percentage, you're probably not selling as many. Like you'd figure, like in a different market, you'd sell almost all 10 of them,
right?
And not and so that's what's really screwing us up.
We're seeing, I mean, like daily big price reductions. So if you're on my newsletter or my snail mail letter, you'll see coming out in the mail here and at the end of April, my headline is 5 to 10%. Well, what does that mean? So the 5 to 10%, there's no rule, right? There's no one way to get a house sold. But when you're lowering the price, the 5 to 10% range in lowering it is recommended. Because like if you have $1 million house and you lower it by 5,000, you might as well not lower it, in my opinion, because I see that and I think that just looks ridiculous. It's not going to move the market, right? So
the only thing that'll do is you'll get back on the portals as just reduced, and it gets more eyeballs.
Does it though?
Well,
like, I mean,
that's the theory.
for just that little in terms of that price point,
it's like price reduced, so
that's true.
It may get on the hot sheet. People, realtors are sitting on the hot sheet. Yeah, price reduction.
I know, but it gets with so many price reductions. I feel like it gets mixed in the bunch.
I'll tell you what one realtor I know said, and I saw the video last week. As a matter of fact, every Thursday, they drop. That's on the other coast, the other side of Florida.
Okay.
They drop their listings $100 every single week because it gets on Friday. It gets into the portals.
Does that work?
He claims it does. He doesn't. He's a good guy. I don't think he lies. I don't think he's a liar. But what it does is just gets a whole set of not new eyeballs. It gets eyeballs on it. I mean, I
don't know. I'm not about that approach. Let's just get it to a number that's competitive to the comps. Now, the thing with what we do in real estate is like we could list a house right now and we could feel like it's priced well. We're not the judge and the jury of the market, right? The market is. But you know, another house could get listed or 2, 3 on the same street or in the neighborhood that now makes ours look overpriced. Like we've had this happen, and then you're chasing it down, and so there is frustration from sellers. But I think I tried to do my very best with educating sellers and buyers, just so that you're under promising and over delivering, hopefully, because you don't want to have pie in the sky like hopes of like, yeah, it's definitely worth 5 million when it's more like 3.5 million. And it's tough because it's changing. Yeah. It's ever
prices
changing.
Are moving every day, and for right now, they're moving to the downside. It seems like.
What would you advise if someone doesn't have to sell right now? Would you tell them to wait, or say like, I guess it depends.
It depends on their circumstances.
I know,
because let's say you gave that advice in 2008. And I was actively selling then, and I said, listen, prices are going to continue to fall. We got a bunch of foreclosures coming. Prices are going to fall. I know this is less than what you want right now, but I guarantee you in like a year, 2 years, it's going to be way more than what you're going to get in a year and 2 years. So if you think you're going to sell within the next few years, this may be a really good time. Okay,
I tend to agree.
Prices will bottom out. No one knows when.
Exactly.
And, we're not going to see, I don't think we're going to see a huge drop like then.
Right.
Because there were so many foreclosures going through. Right now, you've got a lot of people with a lot of equity. Mm-hmm. They don't have to sell. They don't have to lower the price.
Do you know the American stat for people that own in this country is like 40% have no mortgage, which is phenomenal. I wonder what it was back around the recession.
I don't know, but
but this is one thing. Sorry, I didn't want to forget that we're starting to see more auctions and a couple of foreclosure, the F word coming creeping through. But I'm starting to see more luxury auctions happening on the islands, downtown, stuff close to the water. Are you too?
Not really, but
I'm hearing about it.
You pay attention more than I do, but to the auction stuff,
right?
I'm not seeing a massive wave of auctions yet, and I don't know, maybe we will, but who knows? Who knows? I'm not sure. That's the path.
Anything else you got in that handy dandy article?
No. But so, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think prices are going to? Listen. I would like to buy a house right now, a rental property, and I would consider buying something, but it has to be an attractive, what price. I consider to be attractive value. I'm not trying to steal it, but if I think prices are going to drop another 10%, then maybe I want to pay that. Would you be a buyer right now?
I'm not a buyer right now.
Okay.
But
why not? Tell me why.
Well, I have other goals for my capital right now, and even for me, I'll be honest, there I do have some hesitation.
Hesitation, the prices will drop
Watching
further?
prices.
Yeah, okay. And that's the same hesitation everyone else has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
but you're not going to pick the bottom.
No, and I'm not trying to, but it depends. I mean, listen, you could buy now and then the market takes a dip even further. But like, listen, no matter what, real estate is a long game, as is the stock market. 1 or 2 days in the real estate market or the stock market doesn't make the market. So while it's emotional getting through these tariff negotiations and things like that, it's always been a long game. I've always advised my clients the 5 to 10 year plan. I mean, listen, you could sell in 10 years and still not.
Yeah, we've seen that.
I've seen some people that have had to deal with that. It's kind of really rare.
It is rare, or if they bought in a super escalated, heated, crazy market.
And then they sell again in the worst, bad timing overall.
But I mean, we sold something where someone bought it in 2005, which is a really heated market. You probably remember that. Crazy, things didn't make sense, heated market. And they just sold, and they kind of just broke even.
I know. I've got one in my neighborhood they've owned for some time, and they keep lowering the price. And just like, I think you're at the bottom of where you should list because nothing else is moving in the neighborhoods. Just wait or rent it. I mean, I don't know. When you see someone lowering constantly too, it looks like the seller is really desperate. And I mean, it looks a little different. Control the controllable.
So, in conclusion, I mean, we're in a challenging market. Prices are probably going to maybe drop a little more. Oddly enough, we sold more single-family homes in Sarasota than we did last year.
That's good news.
Condos are skewing things.
That's good news.
Yeah, it is. So, now, okay, I got one more thing.
Okay,
I was at the CORCORAN convention 2 weeks ago.
Yes,
in
Scottsdale, in Arizona.
Yeah, and I will tell you this: Florida and Texas have lots of listings.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone in upstate New York. She's like, "We're not making any money because we have no listings."
Oh.
So and then I was talking to another agent in California. They had 15 offers on a starter, like a handyman home for $1 million. So there's definite difference between other parts of the country and Florida and Texas. So we're going to bottom out, and eventually, and prices will stop, and then they'll stabilize. I would be comfortable buying right now if I've just found the right property, but I just can see why other people might not. What do? You got a seller that really needs to sell. What do? You have to lower the price. Right?
I mean, and there's things that we do behind the scenes, like we'll manipulate the language, change photos around, controlling the controllables, maybe push out like some ads. I mean, there's no magical piece of marketing or advertising that's really going to sell in a market like this. Buyers are looking at the prices. They're stalking properties. Okay, they're seeing what's happening, not just yours. And people have access to this information through Zillow, Realtor.com. Buyers are really savvy. They have everything at their fingertips. So we control what we can, right? The rest is left up to the universe, I guess, so to speak.
The free market dictates price.
Yeah,
it's supply and demand.
Yeah. At some point, I mean, there's going to be a buyer, and let it be for your property, right?
Yeah.
And let it be with CORCORAN Dwellings downtown Sarasota. So I can be reached if you have any questions. By the way, thank you for subscribing, watching, commenting, sharing. Thank you. We love your comments. Please call me 941-544-7690.